You ever have one of those mornings where you're brushing your teeth and you catch yourself in the mirror and think, huh, when did I become this person? Not in a bad way, necessarily, just different from what you imagined. Maybe you're working a job you never planned on, or you're handling stress the same way your parents did, even though you swore you'd be different. Or you realize you've been saying, I'll start tomorrow for the past 3 years. That little jolt of recognition, that's where everything changes. Because here's what most people don't understand about transformation: it doesn't happen in big, dramatic moments. It happens in the quiet decisions you make every single day. The problem: your brain's default settings. Think about this. You probably don't consciously decide to check your phone first thing when you wake up. You just do it. Your hand moves before your mind catches up. Mainly because most of your life isn't actually being lived by you, but rather it's being run by programs. Programs you installed years ago without realizing it. Your morning scroll, your stress response when things get difficult, the way you talk to yourself when you make a mistake, the automatic, I can't do that when something scares you. These aren't choices anymore, they're habits, and they became beliefs. I'm not a morning person. Money always slips through my fingers. I'm too old to change. You don't even question them. They just run in the background, making decisions for you while you're not paying attention. But here's the thing: transformation starts with just one moment of awareness. And the solution? Pause and ask yourself one simple question: who said that? And is it actually true? That's it. Just pause and ask. When you catch yourself thinking, I can't do this, instead ask, who planted that idea? Your parents? A teacher? A bad experience from 10 years ago? Here's how to practice this today. When you wake up tomorrow, before you check your phone, pause for 10 seconds. Ask yourself, what automatic response am I about to make? Then ask, is this actually serving me? Or is this just what I've always done? That tiny pause, less than 1 minute, is where change begins. Here's something that blew my mind when I learned it. Your brain physically rewires itself every single time you practice something new. It's called neuroplasticity. It means you're not stuck with the brain you have. It's constantly reshaping. Imagine you always take the same route to work: left on Main, right on Fifth. You know it so well you could drive it half asleep. That route is carved into your brain like a deeply worn path. But one day, you try a different street. At first, it feels weird. You second guess yourself. You're more aware of every turn. But if you take that new route enough times, something magical happens. The new path becomes just as automatic as the old one. Eventually, it might even feel more natural. Your brain doesn't care which path you take. It just rewires itself based on what you repeat. This is important because it means you're not broken. You're just using old pathways. The hard truth: your brain fights change. But here's the catch: your brain also has a main job: keep you alive. And your brain thinks familiar equals safe, even when familiar actually sucks. Say you decide to start going to the gym. Week 1 is brutal. Not because you're weak, because your brain is literally fighting you. It's saying, we've never done this before. It's dangerous. Let's stay on the couch where I know you'll survive. Scientists call this homeostasis, your body trying to maintain the status quo. It's like your nervous system is the world's most stubborn old friend who refuses to try new restaurants. Here's the key: discomfort isn't a sign you're doing something wrong, it's a sign you're actually rewiring. The plan? Start something stupidly small. Here's what actually works: don't try to change everything, just change one tiny thing. Instead of, I'm going to go to the gym 5 days a week, commit to 5 minutes of movement. Instead of, I'm waking up at 5 a.m., commit to getting out of bed 5 minutes earlier than usual. Or, instead of, I'm reading a book a week, commit to 1 page a day. Here's how you can incorporate such tiny actions into your daily routine. After I brush my teeth in the morning, I will drink 1 glass of water. After I pour my coffee, I will write down one thing I'm grateful for. Or, after I get home from work, I will change into workout clothes. And that's it. No gym required yet. This is called habit stacking. You're tying the new behavior to something you already do automatically. Your brain recognizes the trigger, and the new action follows. Start here, not at the gym, not with massive change, but with this. Transformation is usually uncomfortable and messy. You're not going to wake up one day and suddenly feel like a new person. Instead, you'll enter what psychologists call the liminal phase, the weird in-between space where you're not who you were anymore, but you're not quite who you're becoming yet. It's like quitting your job but not starting the new one, or ending a relationship but not knowing how to be single yet, or starting to go to the gym but still carrying the identity of someone who doesn't exercise. You get confused, doubt yourself. You have a moment of progress and then feel like you're back to square one. And that's when most people quit. They think, see, this isn't working. I'm just not a gym person, or I'm just not disciplined enough. But that confusion, that discomfort, that's not failure. That's the exact moment your brain is rebuilding itself. The truth nobody talks about. Feelings come after your identity shifts. Most people failed because they try to change through willpower alone. They grit their teeth and force themselves to act confident, to act disciplined, to act like someone who never quits. But deep down inside, they're still thinking, I'm not this person. I'm just faking it till I make it. Your subconscious knows, and it doesn't buy the act. That's why identity shifts matter more than behavior changes. This is crucial. Don't wait to feel different to act different. Instead, act like the person you're becoming, and the feelings will follow naturally. You don't wait to feel like a morning person before waking up early. You wake up early, and over time, you become someone who feels like a morning person. You don't wait to feel confident before speaking up in meetings. You speak up. Your brain notices, I survived that, and gradually confidence grows. Here's a practice that actually rewires your brain. Reframe your identity language. Instead of, I'm trying to wake up early, say, I'm someone who respects my mornings. Instead of, I'm trying to save money, say, I'm building a life where I choose carefully what I spend on. Instead of, I'm trying to stop eating junk food, say, I'm becoming someone who fuels my body with food that makes me feel strong. Each time you take the action, like waking up early, choosing not to buy something impulsively, every time you eat the salad instead of the fries, your brain collects evidence. After enough evidence, then your identity starts to shift. And here's the beautiful part. Once your identity shifts, the behavior becomes automatic. You're not forcing yourself anymore. You're just being yourself. Do you realize what most people do when they feel scared, sad, or frustrated? They try to numb it. A stressful day? Scroll on your phone for 2 hours. Anxiety about making a change? Have a drink. Feeling rejected? Binge watch something. The problem is, emotions aren't bugs in the system, they're messages. Your anger isn't weakness, it's telling you a boundary got crossed. Your sadness isn't a sign of failure, it's showing you that you lost something that mattered. Your anxiety during change, it's your brain saying, hey, this is new territory. I don't recognize this yet, but we're going to figure it out together. When you numb these feelings, you miss the information they're trying to give you. The truth. Feeling it fully actually moves you faster. Here's what the research shows. The only way through an emotion is going through it. Whenever you try to suppress fear or sadness, it doesn't disappear. It hides in your body, in your stress responses, in the way you react to things. So when you finally decide to change, all that buried stuff comes up, and it feels like everything's falling apart. But you're not breaking. You're finally letting out what you've been holding in. The tears, the frustration, the exhaustion. And every time you release something, you make space for something new. When you feel uncomfortable emotions during your transformation, try this. Set a timer for 5 minutes. Give yourself permission to feel it fully. If you want to cry, cry. If you want to write angry thoughts, write them. If you want to sit in silence and let the feeling be there, do that. Don't judge yourself. Don't try to fix it. Just feel it. And after 5 minutes, take 3 deep breaths. Acknowledge, that feeling taught me something. That's it. Just 5 minutes of permission to feel. This simple practice calms down your brain's panic button, the amygdala. When you stop fighting the emotion and start listening to it, your thinking brain comes back online. Oftentimes, Hollywood gets wrong about transformation. They show the big speech, the dramatic moment where the hero decides everything will be different starting now. But that's not how real change works. The biggest transformations don't happen during the big decisions. They happen when you're standing in the kitchen at 9 p.m., stressed out and exhausted, and instead of reaching for something destructive, you take 3 deep breaths. Or when someone criticizes you, and instead of snapping back, you pause and say, tell me more, I want to understand. Or when you're scrolling on your phone at midnight and you actually put it down and go to sleep. Those tiny moments, they're rewiring your brain, one breath at a time, one pause at a time, one choice at a time. Do enough of them, and one day you look back and realize, oh, I'm feeling different now. The conversations you don't have anymore, the thoughts that don't loop endlessly in your head, the situations that used to destroy you, but now you just handle. Here's something you can do right now that starts rewiring you immediately. Whenever you feel the urge to react, snap at someone, scroll, eat when you're not hungry, say yes when you want to say no, pause, and take 3 conscious breaths. Breathe in slowly. Hold for 2 seconds. Out slowly. Breathe in slowly. Hold for 2 seconds. Out slowly. Breathe in slowly. Hold for 2 seconds. out slowly. In those 3 breaths, your nervous system shifts. Your prefrontal cortex, your thinking brain, comes back online, and you have a choice instead of a reaction. That's it. 3 breaths, 30 seconds maximum. Do this enough times, and the pause becomes automatic. And in that space between stimulus and response, your entire life changes. In most cases, people try to transform by fighting themselves. They say, I'm just going to push through, mind over matter. They will fight their desire to sleep in, fight through their cravings, and even their self doubt. But the thing is, fighting yourself is like being in a tug of war with your own shadow. The more you pull, the harder it pulls back. Your subconscious is incredibly powerful, and if part of you is fighting another part, you lose every single time. Stop trying to destroy the parts of yourself you don't like. Instead, understand them. Let's say someone whom struggles with anger. They might think, I just need to control myself better. But anger is usually covering something: hurt, fear, feeling powerless. So, when you stop trying to squash the anger and start asking, what is this trying to tell me? And everything shifts. You're not fighting yourself anymore. You're listening. The message behind the anger could be saying, you let someone disrespect you and you didn't stand up for yourself. But once you hear that message, you can actually do something about it. You can set boundaries. You can speak up. Transformation isn't about destroying parts of yourself. It's about bringing everything back together. When you notice a habit or feeling you don't like, instead of judging yourself, ask yourself, what is this trying to protect me from? Procrastination? Maybe it's protecting you from failing or being judged. Perfectionism? Maybe it's protecting you from being not good enough. Avoidance? Maybe it's protecting you from disappointment. These patterns aren't flaws, they're survival strategies. Your nervous system developed them because at one point they kept you safe. When you start to understand this, you will stop hating yourself and start appreciating your system for trying to help. And from that place of compassion, real change happens naturally. Society teaches us that if you're not doing something visible, then you're not making progress. If you're not going to the gym, you're lazy. If you're not waking up early, you're failing. If you're not grinding, you're stuck. But some of the deepest transformation happens in stillness. You might spend 6 months barely doing anything visible, just thinking, reading, journaling, sitting with yourself. And from the outside, it looks like you're stuck, wasting time, and look like you're not making progress. But inside, everything's reorganizing. Your beliefs are shifting. Your nervous system is recalibrating. Your brain is building new pathways. Growth doesn't always look productive. Sometimes the deepest work happens in silence. If you're feeling stuck right now, here's what you can do. Spend 1 week intentionally doing less. Not being lazy, being intentional. Journal for 10 minutes about where you are right now. Read one inspiring passage a day. Take one walk where you just notice your surroundings. Sit in silence for 5 minutes. Let your subconscious do the work. Let new ideas come to you instead of forcing them. At the end of the week, write down what shifted internally, even if nothing external changed. Understand this: transformation never ends. Most people expect, I'll transform and then I'll be done. Then I can relax and just maintain. Sadly, that's not how it works. Transformation isn't a ladder you climb and then you're done. It's more like a never-ending spiral staircase. You keep climbing and it never seems to end. But each step you take, you're a little wiser, a little steadier, a little stronger. You master waking up early, and then a new challenge pops up. First, you master managing your emotions. Then you're challenged to be vulnerable in relationships. You think you've got it figured out, and life hands you something harder. But here's the gift. Each time you've done this before, you know how to move through difficulty now. The real work, awareness over everything. The real work of transformation isn't discipline or motivation, it's awareness. When you see your patterns clearly, the fears, the stories, the ways you protect yourself, you gain freedom. Not the kind where everything gets easy, but rather the kind where you can choose differently, even when it's hard. You're afraid of rejection, but you reach out anyway. You want to quit, but you keep on going. You want to stay safe, but instead you grow. That's the freedom that matters. Transformation isn't about perfection. It's not about waking up at 5 a.m. every single day. It's not about never eating junk food again. It's not about never feeling fear. It's about awareness, compassion, truth. It's about aligning who you are on the inside with how you show up on the outside. It's about walking into the unknown without needing a guarantee that it'll work out. Because life is just a series of transformations, from innocent to experienced, from scared to understanding, from hidden to expressed. Every hard thing you've survived, it wasn't an ending, it was preparation. Every loss, every failure, every moment you thought would break you, life was shaping you into someone capable of more depth. The person you're becoming isn't luck. It's the result of every time you chose honesty when hiding would have been easier. It's every 3-breath pause instead of a reaction. It's every moment you kept going, even though you wanted to quit. It's every time you asked the question instead of accepting the story. That's transformation. Not one big moment, but 1,000 small ones. A lifelong conversation between who you were and who you're still becoming. It's not glamorous, it's not easy, but it's real. And at the end of the day, that's what matters. Not that you existed, but that you evolved. Here's a 4-week transformation roadmap where you can take on and see how you progress. Week 1, build awareness. Start by practicing the 10-second pause before checking your phone the first thing you wake up. Maybe do some light stretches or get some sunlight. Next, before you start to judge or jump into any conclusion, ask, who said that? Is it true? Then journal one automatic belief you want to question. Week 2, begin rewiring. Choose one habit stack. After I had my well-nutrition dinner, I would go for a short walk. Practice for 7 days consistently. Notice how it feels different after the 3rd day. Week 3, shift your identity. Change one belief statement. Instead of I'm trying to, say I'm becoming someone who. Each time you take the action, notice it as evidence. And finally, week 4, integrate and release. When uncomfortable emotions arise, use the 5-minute release. Practice the 3-breath pause before reacting. Ask one curiosity question about a pattern you don't like. Keep all these as daily routine. Do not stop. Make it be part of your daily good habits. Do one small thing daily instead of waiting to feel ready. Do celebrate any tiny wins. They're building your new identity. Lastly, remember, transformation happens in quiet moments, not headlines. Comment one identity you're building right now.